The story begins with sorcerer Yuji being attacked by a monster in the forest. Yuji called his slimes for backup, and they instantly defeated the dangerous monster. After that, we see an adventurer's guild. A man was laughed by his friends. The others thought he was crazy, because he saw a slime who could cast fire spells. Everyone thought slimes were weak, and they said that weak slimes can't use magic. Then Yuji appeared in the guild. Yuji completes a difficult quest, and the receptionist was shocked. However, the guild master Aegis was called. He couldn't believe that Yuji is just an ordinary tamer, and the guild master bought all the herbs that he collected. Suddenly an adventurer appeared, and he reported that they have problems in the forest. They learned that strong monsters appeared in the forest. Yuji learned from his slimes that the monsters are running to town. The guildmaster told the adventurers that several thousand monsters will attack the town. He wanted everyone to flee out of the town with the residents. The adventurers refused. They wanted to save their town. Suddenly, Yuji said he had an idea to eliminate the monsters. Yuji showed the adventurers a dragon fang. He could cast a powerful attack as a tamer with the dragon fangs. So he suggested that he will destroy all monsters with a dragon's fire breath. They were unsure if Yuji could mimic a dragon's attack by himself. Suddenly, an adventurer looked at Yuji's slime, and he said to the guildmasters that they can all trust Yuji. The adventurers then prepared to protect the city and buy Yuji some time. Meanwhile, Yuji's proud wolf collected his scattered slimes in the forest. The slimes were all battle junkies and looking forward to fighting the enemies. Then the adventurers waited for the attacking monsters. They then threw bombs on the enemies. So the first monsters appeared and Yuji prepared his area attack. The adventurers started fighting and Yuji also activated his spells. Yuji planned to attack in 15 minutes and he used his magical coding skills. Yuji searched for a suitable spell and Team Dryad reported the sighting of an unknown person. The mysterious man left behind a red crystal stone. Yuji said that he will build a barrier on top of the crystal stone. This is how his slime group were teleported to the crystal stone. After that, the mysterious man was caught by the slimes. Following this, Yuji transferred his magic to the slimes, and he managed to seal the crystal stone. Suddenly, the caught criminal started to commit suicide and he drank a poison. Then all slimes were collected and they could immediately start to casting his powerful fire spell. Meanwhile, the adventurers fought against the dangerous monsters. Following this, Yuji ordered his proud wolf to do a special task for him. Also, part of the slimes were sent to support the adventurers. So the slimes attacked the monsters with fire magic. The monsters were pushed back, and Yuji created a huge barrier around the city. Then Yuji told Lily to call the adventurers back to town. After that, the slimes should also prepare for their attack. They all went back to the city and scattered around the city. The slimes all found their positions, but one monster was causing trouble. Yuji ran out of time and the two adventurers wanted to sacrifice themselves, but Yuji's proud wolf saved the adventurers in time. He attacked the monster and saved the two adventurers. Following this, Yuji launched his attack, and he activated his barrier first. Then Yuji attacked with his skill Hellfire. Yuji created a huge explosion that killed all the monsters instantly, and the adventurers were impressed by Yuji. Yuji defeated most of the monsters, but some monsters survived. After the attack, Yuji ran out of MP, but Yuji decided to launch a second attack. Following, he activated his second attack, and he was able to defeat the remaining monsters. Yuji saved the city, and he passed out from exhaustion. In the evening, Yuji woke up again. His slimes and Lily were happy that Yuji isn't injured. Meanwhile, Guildmaster Aegis discovered the cause of the monster attack, and they returned to the city. Then we see Yuji eating some soup. He liked Lily's self-cooked soup, and the others celebrated their victory against the strong monsters. Lily then asked why he was risking his life to save everyone. She immediately understood that he didn't want to talk, and walked out of his room with a smile. Then Yuji remembered his previous life as an office worker. When the party was over, Lily checked on Yuji, but he disappeared into the night. Then we see Yuji and his slimes asking him why he wanted to go to the next town right away. Yuji replied that he didn't want to get a lot of attention as a hero, so they went to the next town. The next morning, the guildmaster learned that the hero Yuji had already left town during the night. Suddenly, Lily noticed an item from an evil organization. The guildmaster sent a report to the central guild. Meanwhile, Yuji's slime discovered the next town, so Yuji arrived in a new town with his powerful familiars. Followed Yuji was looking around the city of Kilia, and the slimes wanted meat for lunch. Yuji drew a lot of attention with his many slimes. Then they discovered a man who sell tasty meat. Yuji bought up all the meat of his shop, and he fed his slimes and Proud Wolf the tasty meat. Suddenly, Yuji heard a bell ring and found out that a member of the Center Guild is in town. After lunch, Yuji wanted to do some quests. Yuji has been underestimated because he is a tamer, who are usually very weak. Then the receptionist remarked that Yuji is suitable for the difficult quests. After that, Yuji was looking for a quest. Suddenly he was approached by a group of adventurers. They wanted to invite Yuji to their party, but Rodis thought Yuji was useless as a tamer for the fight against monsters. Then Lisa and Tina asked if he was good at tracking monsters. They wanted to have Yuji in their party. However, they decided to take Yuji into their party to do a quest together. Following this, Yuji and his party set off on their quest. They have the quest to find the whereabouts of an earth dragon, and they thought Yuji is a weak tamer. As a result, he was tasked with tracking down enemy monsters and didn't need to fight. So Yuji asked his familiars if they sense enemies in their area. Yuji ordered his slimes not to wipe out the monsters because he wanted to find out the strength of his party. Following this, Yuji warned his party that he located 5 enemy monsters in their area. Rodis was looking forward to the fight, and he immediately ran to fight against the monsters. Then they were surrounded by the monster group, and Yuji's party got ready to attack. The wolves attacked them, and Rodis used his dagger to defeat the monsters. Rodis managed to kill all the monsters alone with his dagger skills. His party thanked Rodis for their rescue. Meanwhile, the slimes complained that they wanted to fight against the weak monsters. Following this, Yuji moved on, and they took a break in the evening. Then they had dinner, and Yuji shared his chicken drumstick with his cute slime. Yuji praised his slimes in front of Tina, so the other slimes were happy that Yuji is praising them. After that, Tina asked how Yuji got so good at tracking monsters. The girls kept asking, and they wanted to learn more about Yuji. Yuji didn't what he should say. Suddenly Rodis stand up, and he said that they should going to sleep. He said that they will keep watch in different shifts so that no bandits attack their group at night. Yuji was surprised that Rodis is a polite and nice guy. Then we see Yuji, he transferred into an isekai world. Yuji was surprised, he thought he was just imagining it. Suddenly he met a little slime. Yuji unwittingly tamed the little slime. Then the slime wanted that Yuji go with him. So Yuji followed the slime, and he took Yuji to an abandoned house. Then Yuji discovered many grimoires, and he realized that by reading them, he learned all the spells. Suddenly, Yuji noticed more slimes appearing. They all wanted to be tamed by Yuji, and were happy to become Yuji's familiars. As a result, all slimes were reading books, and Yuji immediately learned all the spells written in the grimoires. Also, his stats increased to a height level. Suddenly Yuji realized that he could talk to his slimes through telepathy. After that, we see Yuji back in the present. He was woken up by his slime. They reported that Rodis runs to an unknown location. In addition, Yuji learned that Tina and Lisa also disappeared. Then we see Rodis suddenly stopped on his way. Tina and Lisa found him suspicious, and they went after Rodis without Yuji. They thought Yuji was weak and didn't want to put him in danger. Suddenly, Rodis felt the presence of a person. He threw his knife at Yuji's slime, but Yuji had activated the invisibility skill, and his slime was unharmed. Suddenly Rodis went deeper into the forest, and he discovered traps. He was able to avoid them all, and intended to go to a secret place. The girls wondered what Rodis was doing in the abandoned house. Then Rodis reported to his boss that he had 2 girls and a guy in his party. Yuji learned that Rodis belongs to a group of bandits who enslave people. The group of bandits decided to kidnap only the girls, and Rodis was aware that they were following him into the forest. The bandit group then wanted to start their kidnapping of the 2 girls and sell them to rich noble families. Suddenly, the bandit boss attacked his henchmen. The girls wanted to go back to escape with Yuji, but they unintentionally activated a trap that signaled an alarm. Others also activated a trap, and they managed to fool the bandits. Meanwhile, Yuji got ready to defeat the bandits with one of his powerful spells. Following Yuji's slimes went to battle, they positioned themselves in front of the bandit hideout. Then Yuji transferred his magic to the slimes, and he froze the bandits in a giant block of ice. All the bandits were defeated, and the slimes got the bandits out of the ice block. Lisa and Tina couldn't believe Yuji's slimes are overpowered. Also, Yuji learned that he unintentionally caught a dangerous bandit boss named Gelios. However, the bandits were stored in the stomach of his slimes. After that, the 3 of them decided to continue the quest the next day. Suddenly, Yuji threw a slime into the sky, and he looked for a suitable place to camp. Following this, Yuji took care of finding a place to sleep for his party. The girls marveled at Yuji's powers and his slimes, as he set up a sleeping place in just a short moment. So the girls fell asleep peacefully, and Yuji was thinking about the words of the bandit boss. The bandit boss said that something bad would happen after the moon turns blue. Meanwhile, a mysterious priest was also looking at the moon. The next morning, Yuji and the girls went looking for a giant earth dragon. Suddenly they felt a strong wind, and a slime of Yuji was looking at the dragons on a tree. Then his other slimes went looking for the earth dragon. Yuji reported that his slimes didn't find anything, but the girls encouraged him and said that they believes in his overpowered slimes. Then Yuji remembered the day he took his exams as an adventurer. His huge magic power accidentally destroyed a magic crystal. After that, the candidates had to try to destroy a huge rock. Yuji only used a weak fire spell, and he didn't know that wordless spells are high-level magic. So he wanted to cast another spell again, and he called Fireball. He destroyed the huge rock, and the others were shocked by Yuji's enormous power. Following this, Yuji decided to only use low-rank spells and didn't show anyone that he could use strong spells. While searching for the Earth Dragon, Yuji defeated all the monsters around them with all of his cute slimes. His slimes wiped all monsters out, and they left no traces. Suddenly the girls wondered that they haven't encountered any monsters in the forest. Yuji told them that his slimes defeated every monster, so they were shocked. After that, the sky turned purple, and nobody knew what happened to the sky. The slimes reported that they can sense something spooky in the sky. Priest Style was then told that the blue moon portends evil. He said that a prophecy will come true when the blue moon appears in the sky. So he showed the Guildmaster Ray a book about the legend of the blue moon. A gigantic dragon then appeared from the sky, capable of destroying all of humanity. Yuji immediately ordered his proud wolf to collect the slimes in the forest. Then the girls wondered why the sky is back to normal. Yuji replied that a giant dragon stronger than an earth dragon appeared far away. So Yuji's group decided to hide in Delight Canyon. Yuji learned that Delight Canyon is a save zone because strong monsters avoid the place. Meanwhile, his familiars searched the canyon for monsters. Then Yuji transferred his spells to his familiars, and his slimes instantly defeated all monsters with ease. Followed, they felt a strong wind, and the slimes were almost swept away. They looked for the cause of the wind, so they found a small cave. Strong wind came out of the hole, which looked very suspicious. Then we see Yuji's party in the canyon, and they found the defeated monsters. Yuji said his slimes defeated them. Meanwhile, the proud wolf ran away from a huge bear, and he was terrified. So a slime attacked the bear with a fire spell, and the bear died instantly. The slimes then remarked that they made their way out through Delight Canyon. A little slime was reported to Yuji that they encountered no more strong monsters. Suddenly the earth trembled, and the earth dragon that they were looking for appeared. Lisa and Tina were scared, because their quest was to scout out the monster. They had no chance to defeat him and wanted to hide. Then Yuji wanted to defeat the earth dragon, and the girls said that the earth dragon is too strong. Following this, Yuji began fighting the dragon with his slime. He first attacked with weak magic that didn't damage the monster. Yuji noted that he must use high-level magic, but he didn't want to reveal his true strength. Suddenly the earth dragon attacked Tina and Lisa, and Yuji managed to save them both in time. They thanked Yuji for saving them. Then Yuji came up with a plan against the dragon, and it curled up and attacked Yuji. Followed, the slimes attacked the dragon together, and he lured the earth dragon into a trap. Yuji's plan was a complete success, and he managed to cause a sandstorm. No one could see their fighting anymore, and Yuji prepared a high-level spell. So Yuji aimed at the earth dragon, and he shoots him with a powerful fire spell. The whole environment exploded, and the girls got scared. After that, they saw that the earth dragon was burned. Tina thought his slime had ignited explosive rocks to cause the explosion. So they didn't suspect that Yuji is a super strong hero. They later returned to the guild, and they reported defeating the earth dragon. The receptionist was shocked because Yuji's group was only supposed to scout the dragon. Following this, Yuji's slime threw out the head of the earth dragon, and he also showed the corpse of member Rudis. Meanwhile, Guildmaster Ray learned about the defeated earth dragon. As a result, Yuji's party received a large amount of money as a reward for defeating the bandits and the earth dragon. Suddenly Ray appeared. He wanted to talk with Yuji. However, we see Yuji in a meeting. The guildmaster was talking about a big problem. Yuji was then to report what the dragon he saw in the forest looked like. Yuji used a spell that can turn his memories into an image. So he printed out a picture, and the guildmaster was horrified. After that, Priest Stale showed a book full of legends. He said that the legendary dragon appears after the appearance of the blue moon. The dragon is capable of destroying a continent in just 3 days. Also, Priest Style said that 30 years ago, a legendary hero capable of defeating the dragon appeared. Guildmaster Ray suspected that the legendary dragon appeared because a spirit ceremony was held 30 years ago, which should show an effect after 30 years. They were sure that the dragon was summoned through the ceremony. Suddenly, Yuji's slime reported that the blue dragon was getting bigger. Yuji reported that his slimes are currently observing the blue dragon. The adventurers were frightened by the emergency situation, and the guildmaster decided not to give up without a fight. After that, the slimes got delicious lunch and they thanked Yuji for their tasty meat. Then Tina and Lisa showed up. They suspected that Yuji wants to fight the blue dragon. They wanted to support Yuji, and they said that with Yuji by their side, they can't lose. After that, Priest Dale appeared. He wanted to give Yuji a legendary weapon. Priest Dale gave Yuji a rusted dagger from the legendary hero who disappeared 30 years ago. Yuji looked at the dagger, and he discovered a powerful ability. Then Yuji asked why he got the weapon, and Priest Dale replied that the gods chose him. In the evening, Yuji worried about the adventurers, who wanted to fight against the blue dragon. Suddenly, the slime reported that the blue dragon got even bigger. Yuji thought back to the time when he decided to use only weak magic to hide his abilities. Then he decided to fight the dragon with all his power. Following this, Yuji set off with his familiars to seek out the dragon. They found the giant dragon, and Yuji ordered the slimes to prepare for battle. The slimes were ready for battle, and Yuji chose a strong spell. Yuji shared his senses with his slimes, and he attacked the dragon with his Hellfire spell. The dragon was resistant to many elements, and he started to be angry. The Blue Eyes White Dragon began to launch a widespread attack. Yuji noticed that he was fighting a Blue Eyes White Dragon that could shoot laser beams. Following this, Yuji protected himself and his slimes with a strong barrier. Suddenly, the slimes noticed that the Blue Eyes White Dragon was gathering mana. Yuji wanted to use the dagger of the legendary hero. The slimes were worried because the dagger looked weak. But Yuji knew the true strength of his new weapon, and he ran towards the dragon with his familiars. The dragon attacks Yuji with strong laser beams, but Yuji deflects the attacks. He then landed safely on the ground and continued running towards the dragon. Suddenly, the Blue Eyes White Dragon attacked again, but Yuji countered with his slime at level 9000. His slime deflected the dragon's attack, and Yuji prepared his attack. Then Yuji used his barriers and he did a skywalk. Yuji jumped into the air and reached the dragon. The dragon tried to attack him, but Yuji's slime shot a fireball at him. Following this, Yuji attacked an eye of the dragon with his dagger, and he also used a strong fire spell. The dragon was badly injured, but suddenly Yuji was attacked. The dragon survived his attack, and Yuji had to use all his MP to protect himself. Yuji was out of MP, because the dragon was more powerful than expected. Subsequently, the Blue Eyes Dragon tried to attack Yuji, and Yuji created several barriers. Time was running out, and Yuji was overwhelmed by the powerful laser beams of his opponent. As a result, he came up with a plan and found a powerful spell. Yuji survived the laser beam, and he was trying to buy some time for his next attack. Yuji then paralyzed the dragon with his Pikachu Thunderbolt spell. The dragon was injured, and Yuji rode on his Proud Wolf, so his Proud Wolf assisted Yuji in his attack to defeat their enemy. This is how Yuji managed to attack the blue dragon with his dagger. Yuji combined his dagger with his fire spell, and he was able to slash the dragon into 2 pieces. The Blue Eyes White Dragon died from Yuji's final attack. Following this, his slime celebrated Yuji's victory, and they went back to town together. After the dragon's death, magic mushrooms appeared. The next morning, Guildmaster Ray knocked on his door. Ray said that the legendary dragon is defeated, and he received the information from Priest Dale. Yuji learned that an unknown person saved the world. Guildmaster Ray then said that Yuji can count on the adventurers in case of trouble. After that, Yuji ate breakfast and the girls said that the dragon was defeated. Then they asked what Yuji is up to now. He replied that he would like to travel to the next town, so Lisa suggested that he should visit the city of Ricardo. Suddenly, Yuji asked if there weren't any strange things happening and the girls laughed. They said it's a warm and calm place. After that they said goodbye to Yuji, so they traveled to the next town, and the slimes looked forward for their dinner. Suddenly, a slime reported that Dryad has a problem. Yuji immediately went to her, and she showed Yuji magic mushrooms. Dryad wanted Yuji to help her collect the mushrooms, because she wanted to use them to produce S-rank potions. She said that she can use the mushrooms to produce heal potions and mana restore potions. He was impressed that with the MP potions, he can instantly regain all of his magical powers. However, his slimes collected all the magic mushrooms in the forest in just a short time. She was happy that all the mushrooms were picked up. Then Dryad created a barrier, and she produced potions with her alchemy spells. Suddenly she looked at the MP potion, and she failed to turn the MP potion blue. Yuji wanted to show her an awesome trick he learned from Breaking Bad. As a result, he used his slimes and a couple of Erlenmeyer flasks to distill some water. Following this, Yuji said that her potions resembled the stones when she first encountered them. Dryad remembered being sick in a tree. Suddenly, Yuji appeared, and he cured her of her illness immediately. She then thanked Yuji, and she said that a mysterious stone had absorbed her magic power. After that, he sealed the power of the mysterious stone and evil monsters appeared. Yuji immediately defeated the monsters that were appearing, and Dryad thanked Yuji again. She then conjured flowers, and she was glad to have met Yuji. Later, Yuji learned that the magic stones where monsters appeared are mixed with dragon blood. He learned that dragons contain powerful magics that are neither good nor evil. Suddenly, the slime said that the water is successfully distilled. As a result, Dryad was able to produce blue MP potions. She thanked Yuji and hugged him. Dryad then gave him some of the potions she made. Then she said goodbye and went home. Yuji continued to travel to the next town, and he couldn't see anything through the fog. His proud wolf discovered a small village. Suddenly, many villagers appeared, and Yuji was greeted by a man. He invited Yuji to eat and wait for the fog to clear. Then Yuji got dinner, but he wasn't hungry. Then the man asked why Yuji had visited their village. He replied that he wanted to travel to the city of Ricarda. The villagers watched Yuji and he wanted to move on. Before Yuji left, he learned that the village is called Messias. After that, Yuji and his familiars went off, and his familiars found the villagers very suspicious. Yuji agreed with his slimes and looked back. Then we see the suspicious man from earlier talking to a crystal ball. He said that tomorrow he will extract the Dragon Grace in Delight Canyon to destroy the world. After that, we see Yuji again, and his slimes were looking forward to the delicious food in the city of Ricarda. Following, Yuji and his familiars couldn't believe that a blizzard is active in the new town. Then we see Yuji on his way to the new town, and he wanted to make sure his familiars wasn't cold. They were more worried about Yuji, and he found a spell to warm himself up. After creating the barrier, his slimes were amazed at his spell. After that, he arrived in the new city, and a guard told him more about the weather. Then the city guard asked why Yuji wanted to visit the city Ricarda, and he replied that he had heard about the delicious food in their city. However, Yuji went to the city, and the nice man recommended him to a famous restaurant in their city. So Yuji visited a restaurant, but a woman couldn't serve him some food. She said that their restaurant is closed because they don't have enough firewood since the snowstorm suddenly appeared. Yuji looked at the restaurant and knew that they can cook very tasty food. Suddenly, Yuji offered to get them some firewood so they could cook him tasty meals. Yuji left the restaurant and he went into the forest. He then asked his slimes if they knew anything about firewood. They had no plan and could not support Yuji in his plan. As a result, Yuji sought out a spell, and he created a magic axe. Yuji just tried to cut down the trees and he almost destroyed the whole forest. After felling, he chopped the trees into firewood. The slimes were impressed by Yuji and they admired him. Meanwhile, Yuji sought out a spell to absorb the moisture. Then he had the idea to use his slimes, and they wanted to help Yuji right away. As a result, the slimes absorbed the moisture from the chopped firewood, and Yuji praised them. After that, Yuji showed his wood to the shopkeeper, and she asked the cook about the dried firewood. The chef said the firewood was too dry, and Yuji added moisture with his slime. After looking for the second time, the old man was amazed by Yuji's firewood. He praised him, because he had never seen such perfect firewood in his life. He immediately wanted to use the new firewood, and he asked Yuji where he got that wood from. Yuji replied that his slimes produced them. Then his slime showed Yuji's collected firewood, and the cook was shocked by the large amount. After that, Yuji ordered his slimes to add them the collected firewood with moisture. Suddenly, Yuji's stomach rumbled, and the chef wanted to cook a delicious meal for Yuji. Yuji was served a delicious steak with some side dishes. However, Yuji wanted to taste the steak, and he was impressed by the heavenly taste of the vegetables and meat. Yuji thanked for the meal, and he complimented the chef's cooking skills. Then he found out about the stew, but the shopkeeper didn't want to use up all the wood. Yuji decided to help the city and he went to the guild. Then Yuji saw that the whole town is in trouble. He accepted some quests. Yuji was sent to a lumberjack for assistance, and he looked forward to Yuji's help. Woodoka said that demand is currently increasing because no one could have foreseen the blizzard. After that, Yuji asked about Messias village, and he learned that no one lives in Messias village anymore. Following this, Yuji started chopping down trees, and he used his powerful axe skills. The lumberjacks were shocked by Yuji because he cut countless trees down in just one moment. Then he chopped the trees into perfect firewood and stacked them. He also used his slime gang, which absorbed the moisture instantly. Lumberjack Wudaka was stunned by Yuji and his slimes. In the afternoon, Wudaka told that Yuji produced all the wood with his slimes. The guild receptionist said that she knows of a legend that appeared in the story about a powerful slime tamer. Yuji thought Priest Stein knew more about the legend about the slime tamer. However, Yuji said that his slimes collected more firewood. As a result, his slimes threw up all the collected wood that they stowed in their body, and Wudaka was still speechless at Yuji's power. After that, Yuji asked if the guild needed more firewood. So Yuji went on to collect firewood for the whole town. He collected a mountain of firewood that shocked everyone. In the evening, Yuji received his quest reward, and he went to rest at night. The next morning he wanted to eat the delicious stew from the city of Ricarda. Following this, he was served a delicious stew by the chef, and his confidants were served delicious meat. The restaurant owner and the chef thanked them, and Yuji tasted the delicious stew. Yuji couldn't believe food could taste so delicious. He thought that he was in paradise. His familiars and Yuji were fascinated and wanted to eat the delicious meals every day. Suddenly the chef said that usually they can serve better dishes. Yuji learned that monsters are eating the herbs and they cannot harvest high-quality herbs. So Yuji went hunting the monster, and his slimes were ready to beat up the evil monsters. They were ready to go into battle. As a result, they tried to track down the monster. Suddenly they found a wild boar, and they immediately reported it to Yuji. The wild boar monster scared the slimes with a scream. They told Yuji to transfer some magic. The wild boar monster was then defeated by a slime. They were happy to have defeated the first monster. Then they wiped out all the other monsters in the forest as well. While fighting, the slimes found a blue magic orb. Yuji asked Dryad if she knew about the magic orb. Yuji was curious, and he found out that the magic orb absorbs his energy. He then recalled the memories about red crystals and suspected that the magic orbs are responsible for the blizzard. After that, Yuji sealed the blue magic orb, and he ordered his slimes to look for more of them. His slimes found 108 magic orbs around the city of Ricarda. As a result, Yuji felt a strange energy and suspected a high-level spell. Yuji immediately ordered his slimes to go out of the forest, and Proud Wolf should collect the slimes. Suddenly, Yuji decided to destroy part of the forest, and Dryad wasn't angry with Yuji, because he just tried to save everyone. Then Yuji burned the whole forest with a strong fire spell. He caused a huge explosion. Yuji found a secret entrance and he decided to investigate the entrance. Following this, Yuji descends into the secret hiding place, and his slimes accompany him. Dryad was worried about Yuji, and he told her to hide in the forest in his absence. Then his slime said they found something, and Yuji saw a huge machine glowing. Yuji was surprised by the mysterious machines, and his slimes called him again. They found magic crystals filled with some substance. Suddenly, suspicious people appeared, and they looked at the magic crystals. They found out the machines were destroyed and went out a different way. Yuji wondered what the suspicious people were up to. Meanwhile, the slimes had a lot of fun and looking forward to finding more weird things. Following this, Yuji cast a spell to make his slimes invisible. Later, Yuji was in the forest, and his slimes reported that they found the suspicious guys. The slimes were chasing the suspicious men, and they had a lot of fun playing spies. So the slimes went on, and they found a huge steel door they couldn't get through. The slimes reported to Yuji that they found 2 levers. Yuji said that together, they should open the levers at the same time. As a result, the slimes managed to open the door. Proud Wolf trusted the slimes, and they reported to Yuji that they found a ladder to the surface. So they climbed up the ladder, and Yuji found the village of Messias. The slimes also realized that they had been to the village before, and they searched the village for some villagers. Then they found the suspicious men, and they reported to their leader about the destroyed machines. Yuji suspected that the men wearing the cult clothes belonged to an evil organization associated with the Blue Moon. The leader of the evil organization was shocked when his followers told him about the destroyed machines. Yuji spied the conversation through his slimes, and the leader of the evil organization wanted to solve their problem. He ordered his followers to collect all the remaining magic stones in the forest. Suddenly, a follower of the evil organization asked what to do if they see strangers. The leader ordered that all troublemakers should be killed. Yuji believed they would hurt many innocent people, so he planned to stop the evil group. He then ordered his slimes to secretly surround the village. Before launching their attacks, the slimes should look for innocent people who don't belong to the evil organization. So the slimes searched the village, and one of the slimes observed the Blue Moon group. In addition, a group of slimes stole the evil organization's books and documents. They stowed all the books and documents into their body. Suddenly, Yuji's slime spotted some people in the forest, and they tied them up with a spell. The captured criminals immediately committed suicide, and they drank some poison. Yuji watched what was happening in the forest, and he had no intention to stop his plan. Then a slime reported that he couldn't open a metal door. The door was locked, and Yuji asked if they could spot levers. They saw several lights, and Yuji told the slimes to position everyone in front of the candles. Then the slimes blew out all the candles with a wind spell, and the door opened. They were impressed how smart Yuji is, because he could solve the riddle. However, they found many treasures, and a slime discovered a skeleton. Suddenly they sensed someone in the hiding place, but the slimes have already stolen all the books and treasures. Followed then, the evil organization became desperate. Yuji prepared to attack the suspicious men. Meanwhile, the evil group realized that many of their followers had disappeared, as a result suspected that the explosion was caused by a human. They were afraid that the enemy found out their true intentions, so they told about a cleansing flame that could destroy the world. Yuji continued to listen to the criminals' conversations. Then the leader said that they need to track down the enemy and kill him. Suddenly they all drew swords and they all committed to sacrifice themselves together. The slimes and Yuji were shocked. Suddenly the cleansing flame activated and caused an earthquake. Yuji immediately told the slimes to gather, and Yuji prepared to rescue them. So Yuji encased his slimes in a barrier, and he used a blast spell to get them away from the city. The slimes flew into the sky, and they had a lot of fun. Meanwhile, Yuji encased the city of Messias with many barriers. Suddenly the whole city of Messiah exploded, and green flames rose from the ground. All houses were destroyed, and Yuji's barriers broke from within. Yuji searched for more spells, and the slimes got worried. Following this, Yuji came up with a super smart plan, and he created a new barrier spell. As a result, he activated his newly created spell, and he used his isolating zone spell. Yuji's spell was very powerful, and he tried to withstand the blast long enough. His MP was dwindling, and he soon had no strength to hold out. Yuji tried to hold on with the last of his strength, and his MP was down more than 500k. At the end, a huge explosion appears that envelops the city like an atomic bomb. Yuji successfully managed to stop the explosion. Then we see his proud wolf he was hiding in the ground. At night, Yuji returned to the city of Ricarda. Everyone was worried about Yuji, and they were happy that he came back and wasn't injured. The residents thought that the explosions were caused by meteorites. After that, Yuji noticed that the snow was thawing in the city. The next morning, Yuji was greeted, and the residents wanted to have a party with Yuji. Then, Yuji was hailed as a hero for helping out the town with firewood. After that, the restaurant owner showed up and thanked Yuji for defeating the wild boar monsters. The chef was able to cook his tastiest stew for Yuji. As a result, Yuji was allowed to eat the stew immediately. He was immediately overwhelmed by the taste and felt reborn after eating it. Yuji had a food coma from the delicious stew. In the evening he woke up again and he wanted to look at the books of the evil organization. His slime threw out all the documents and fell asleep. When Yuji tried to read the documents, the characters disappeared. He only managed to find one document with information. Yuji was shocked to find a death list meant for John Wick. Then we see assassins, who wanted to kill the people on the kill list, and Yuji was also a target of them.